a single moment can change everything. One loss, one goodbye, and the entire Heartland family will never be the same again. In Season 19, fans are bracing themselves for a storyline that could shake the very core of the series. A shocking death that not only tests the strength of the family, but also forces every character to confront life in ways they never imagined. The question is not just who will be gone, but how will Heartland survive without them? For nearly 2 decades, Heartland has been more than just a television show. It has been a journey through love, grief, resilience, and hope. At the center of it all has been a family bound together by the trials of life on a ranch, where every sunrise brings both promise and hardship. Fans have watched the Flemings and the Bartletts face heartbreaks that could have broken them forever. From Marion's tragic death at the very beginning to Ty's devastating loss in Season 14, the show has never shied away from confronting the harshest realities of life. These moments of sorrow, while painful, have always been the foundation for deeper growth and renewal. And now, as Season 19 approaches, whispers of another loss have stirred the fan community into a storm of speculation. What makes this speculation so powerful is the history Heartland carries with it. Every death on the show has been carefully crafted, not simply for shock value, but to serve as a turning point in the story. Marion's death brought Amy and Ty together, setting in motion the love story that defined much of the series. Ty's sudden departure shattered Amy's world, but also pushed her to discover her strength as a woman, a mother, and a horse trainer who could stand on her own. These losses, though heartbreaking, have always opened doors to new beginnings. That is why the idea of another shocking death in Season 19 feels both terrifying and inevitable. Many fans believe that Tim Fleming may be the one to face this fate. Tim has been a complicated figure since the day he returned to Heartland. Flawed, stubborn, and often reckless, he has made mistakes that caused pain for those around him. And yet, over the years, viewers have seen another side of him. The father who never stopped trying to make amends, the man who learned to show love in his own imperfect way, the protector who stood up when his family needed him most. His journey has been one of redemption, proving that even the most broken relationships can heal with time and effort. For Tim to die in Season 19 would be more than just the end of his story. It would be the final chapter of a man who struggled, stumbled, but never stopped fighting for his place in the family. The impact of Tim's death would ripple across Heartland in ways both expected and surprising. For Amy, it would mean losing the one parent she had left, a wound that would cut deep into her already fragile heart. For Jack, it would mean saying goodbye to a son-in-law he had clashed with, forgiven, and ultimately learned to respect. For Lou, it would mean facing the loss of her father, a man who both frustrated and loved her in equal measure. And for the entire ranch, it would be yet another test of whether love and unity can overcome grief. But perhaps the most heartbreaking effect would be on Lindy. For a child who has already lost her father, the passing of her grandfather would feel like another piece of her world slipping away. Yet, as painful as it would be, this could also become the moment that shapes her future. Just as Amy grew stronger after losing Ty, Lindy could begin to understand life's fragility, carrying forward the love and lessons of those who came before her. This is what makes the idea of a shocking death in Season 19 so powerful. It is not just about who dies, it is about how the living carry on. Heartland has always been about resilience, about finding light even in the darkest of moments. If Tim is indeed the one to go, his death will not simply end his story. It will ignite a new chapter for Amy, Lindy, and the rest of the family. A chapter where pain is transformed into courage, and where the true meaning of family is tested once again. If Tim's death truly becomes the turning point of Season 19, the aftermath will be nothing short of heartbreaking. Heartland has always shown that grief is not a single moment, but a long journey, one that pulls every member of the family into its grasp. And this time, the weight of sorrow would fall differently on each character, exposing old wounds and testing bonds that once seemed unbreakable. For Amy, the loss would be devastating. Having already endured the unimaginable pain of losing Ty, she knows too well the silence that follows after someone you love is suddenly gone. The thought of losing her father would reopen old scars, reminding her of every loss she has ever faced. Marion, Ty, and now Tim. Yet, unlike the young woman she once was, Amy is stronger now. She has walked through darkness and survived. In Season 19, fans would expect to see her wrestle with grief again, but this time, her strength would guide her through it. Instead of being broken, Amy might channel her pain into a deeper understanding of life, a realization that every day is precious. Tim's death could serve as a harsh but powerful reminder that love cannot be postponed and dreams cannot be delayed. It would push her to choose happiness, not just survival, and perhaps even open her heart to new possibilities. Jack's grief would be quieter, but no less heavy. As the patriarch of Heartland, he has carried the weight of countless tragedies. He has buried his wife, his daughter, and his son-in-law. Losing Tim would strike another blow, but what would hurt most is the sense of time running out. Jack is no stranger to the fragility of life, yet with every passing loss, he feels the truth more deeply, that no matter how much we love, nothing lasts forever. Still, Jack is more than just a grieving old man. He is the anchor. Season 19 would likely show him stepping into that role once more, holding the family together when everything threatens to fall apart. His strength would not come from being untouched by sorrow, but from being shaped by it. Fans would expect Jack to remind Amy, Lou, and the others that while death takes, it also leaves behind lessons, memories, and a legacy that must be honored. For Lou, the pain of losing her father would be layered with guilt and regret. Their relationship has never been simple. Tim was the parent who was absent when she needed him most, yet he was also the man who tried again and again to make amends. In Season 19, Lou would likely confront these conflicting emotions: anger at what was lost, gratitude for what was finally found, and heartbreak that time ran out before everything could be healed. This could become one of the most emotional arcs of the season, as Lou struggles to reconcile her father's flaws with the love he still gave. It would also push her to rethink her own choices as a mother, determined to give Katie and Georgie the love and presence she once craved from Tim. And then there is Lindy. For a child, death is harder to understand. She may not fully grasp what it means to lose her grandfather, but she would feel the absence deeply. Heartland has always been about the passing of wisdom from one generation to the next, and Tim's death could become the moment where Lindy begins to understand that responsibility. She would look to her mother, her great-grandfather Jack, and the rest of the family for guidance. In many ways, Lindy would become the heart of the story, a symbol of innocence, resilience, and the future that the family must hold on to. Watching her process, the loss would remind fans that even in the darkest moments, life continues through the eyes of the young. But the ripple effects would not end with the family. Heartland Ranch itself has always been more than just a backdrop. It is a living symbol of endurance. Every tragedy that has struck the family has also tested the survival of the ranch. Tim's absence would leave practical challenges. Who takes on the responsibilities he once carried? Who steps up when his strength and presence are gone? These struggles would force the family to come together in new ways, rediscovering what it means to stand united. The most suspenseful part of this storyline is not just the death itself, but how each character chooses to respond. Will Amy finally allow herself to live fully, using the pain as a reason to embrace joy? Will Jack's wisdom hold the family together, or will grief drive them apart? Will Lou's guilt inspire her to change, or will it haunt her? And will Lindy's innocence become the light that leads them all forward? Season 19 could transform tragedy into the catalyst for rebirth, just as it has done in the past. But unlike other losses, Tim's death would not only close one chapter, it would raise urgent questions about the future of Heartland itself. The true power of Heartland has always been its ability to show that life does not stop after tragedy, it changes. It bends, but it keeps moving. If Tim's death becomes the central storyline of Season 19, then the ripple effect will not just be about grief, but about transformation. Each character will face a moment of choice, either remain stuck in sorrow or use the pain as fuel to grow stronger. And this is where the season could take on a new, unforgettable depth. For Amy, Tim's death would become a turning point she cannot ignore. After Ty's passing, she chose to keep her heart closed, focusing only on survival and raising Lindy. But with her father gone, she may finally realize that life is too short to live in shadows. Fans have long wondered if Amy will ever find love again, not to replace Ty, but to prove that her story is still alive. Season 19 could be the moment where Amy begins to open herself up. Not recklessly, but bravely. Tim's absence might push her to embrace risks, whether that means stepping into a new relationship, expanding her horse training into fresh directions, or even taking bold steps toward her dreams. Instead of living for the memory of the past, she may finally start living for the possibilities of the future. Jack's journey, however, would be about legacy. Having lived through more losses than anyone else in the family, Jack understands better than anyone that death is part of life. But losing Tim would cut deeper because it would remind him of his own mortality. Season 19 could show Jack wrestling with the thought that his time is limited too. Instead of pulling back, though, this could drive him to leave a stronger mark on the family. Fans might see Jack taking a more active role in shaping Lindy's future, teaching her the values that have kept Heartland strong for generations. He would not replace Tim, but he would make sure Tim's lessons were not forgotten. Through Jack, the show could deliver some of its most emotional and powerful messages, reminding us all that while death takes lives, it cannot take away love or wisdom. Lou's transformation would be less about romance or legacy and more about responsibility. As the oldest child, she has often carried the weight of leadership in the family. Tim's death would force her to step into that role more firmly, perhaps even clashing with Amy as they both try to make decisions for the ranch and the family's future. This conflict could add dramatic tension to the season, showing that even in the closest families, grief can create division. But through that tension, Lou could discover a new sense of purpose, not just as a businesswoman or politician, but as the daughter who finally understands her father's struggles. Season 19 might become the moment where Lou forgives Tim fully, not in words, but in the way she chooses to carry on his legacy of resilience. Georgie's return, if it happens, could also be deeply tied to Tim's death. For years, fans have wanted Georgie and Quinn back on the ranch, and this tragic event could be the reason for their homecoming. Grief often brings families together, and Georgie may return to support Amy, Lou, and Jack, only to realize how much Heartland still means to her. This could reignite her storyline, giving viewers the joy of seeing her and Quinn move forward in their journey, perhaps with an engagement or wedding in sight. At the same time, Georgie's presence would bring hope, showing that even as one life ends, others are still blooming with promise. Lindy, though, would be the heart of the rebirth. Children have a way of bringing light even in the darkest times, and Lindy could become the symbol of everything Heartland still has to live for. Through her, Amy would find the courage to keep moving, and Jack would find the strength to keep teaching. Tim's death, as painful as it would be, might become the reason Lindy grows up with a stronger sense of purpose, understanding that love lives on in memories and actions. Fans could see Lindy stepping into a bigger role, asking questions, learning about her father and grandfather, and shaping her identity around the lessons of those she has lost. This is what would make Season 19 so powerful. It would not be about despair, but about rebirth. Tim's death would close one door, but it would open many others, forcing Amy, Jack, Lou, Georgie, and even Lindy to redefine what Heartland means. It would test their bonds, challenge their beliefs, and push them to discover strength they did not know they had. But the suspense lies in how far the writers are willing to go. Will they allow Amy to embrace love again? Will Jack's health become another looming question? Will Lou's leadership create unity or conflict? And will Lindy's innocence be enough to remind them all why family matters most? Season 19 is shaping up not just as another chapter, but as the season that could redefine the very soul of Heartland. The question fans keep asking is simple but terrifying. What happens to Heartland if Tim is really gone? The show has always been built on resilience, but resilience does not mean the pain disappears. It means the characters must learn how to live with it. And in Season 19, that challenge would be greater than ever before. Tim's absence would not just leave a hole in the family. It would reshape every storyline, forcing the characters to step into roles they never expected and confront truths they may have been avoiding for years. For Amy, the shock of losing her father could become the spark that finally sets her free from the shadows of the past. After Ty's death, she carried a quiet fear that if she dared to love again, she might lose everything once more. But Tim's passing might push her to face that fear head-on. Grief has a way of stripping life down to its core, reminding us that nothing is promised, not even tomorrow. Amy could emerge from this tragedy with a new determination to stop waiting and start living. Season 19 may be the season where she chooses not just to survive, but to thrive, taking bold steps in her personal life and her career. Whether that means exploring new opportunities with her horse training, opening herself to love again, or simply embracing the joy of motherhood, fans would see a woman who finally realizes that her story is far from over. Jack's storyline, however, would carry a haunting suspense. As the oldest member of the family, he has been the rock through every storm. But Tim's death would be a chilling reminder of how fragile life has become. For the first time, fans might see cracks in Jack's strength, moments where the weight of years and the burden of loss catch up to him. And this would create a layer of uncertainty around his future. Could Jack too be nearing the end of his journey? Heartland has always honored the cycle of life, and while fans dread the thought of losing Jack, his struggles in Season 19 could serve as a poignant warning that time is running short for everyone. This tension would hang over the season like a storm cloud, making every moment with Jack feel more precious, more fragile, and more emotional than ever before. Lou's path would likely be marked by conflict, both within herself and with others. Losing her father could reignite her determination to lead, but it could also make her controlling, desperate to keep the family from falling apart. Her clash with Amy could become one of the season's central dramas. While both sisters love each other deeply, grief has a way of magnifying differences. Lou might push for practical decisions, expanding the ranch, securing its financial future, tightening control, while Amy may insist on keeping the emotional heart of Heartland alive, even if it means taking risks. This sisterly conflict would not only add tension, but also force both women to grow, ultimately learning that strength comes not from control, but from trust and unity. Georgie's return could provide the season's balance of hope. If she and Quinn come back to the ranch in the wake of Tim's death, their presence could be a reminder that life is not just about endings, but also about beginnings. Their relationship could blossom into something permanent, perhaps even marriage, offering a counterpoint to the sorrow surrounding Tim's passing. This duality, loss and renewal, would capture the very essence of Heartland, showing that love continues even when life feels unbearable. And through it all, Lindy would remain the beating heart of the story. Tim's death could shape her understanding of family and resilience in ways far deeper than her age suggests. Season 19 might show her asking the questions no one else dares to voice. Why do people have to die? Will I lose Mommy or Grandpa Jack too? These innocent questions could cut straight to the audience's hearts, reminding us of the fears we all carry. But it would also be through Lindy that hope shines the brightest. Her laughter, her bond with the horses, her unshakable connection to Amy, all of it would show that even when life takes, it also gives. What makes this potential storyline so suspenseful is the unpredictability of it all. Fans do not know how far the writers are willing to go. Will they allow Amy to finally find happiness again, or will they keep her anchored to the grief of the past? Will Jack's health become another looming shadow? Will Lou's leadership tear the family apart before it brings them back together? And most of all, will the ranch itself survive another loss? Or will Tim's death threaten the very future of Heartland Ranch? These unanswered questions would drive Season 19 forward, keeping fans on edge with every episode. Heartland has always been about more than horses and ranch life. It has been about the fragility of love, the inevitability of loss, and the power of family to heal. If Tim is indeed the one to go, then his death will not just change everything, it will redefine everything. If Season 19 dares to take the bold step of killing off Tim, then it will not only shake the family, but also challenge the very soul of Heartland. For nearly 20 years, the show has taught its audience that life is not always fair, that love does not come without pain, and that family is both fragile and unbreakable at the same time. With Tim's death, these lessons would take on a deeper meaning than ever before, leaving fans to wonder how each character and the ranch itself can possibly move forward. If Season 19 dares to take the bold step of killing off Tim, then it will not only shake the family, but also challenge the very soul of Heartland. For nearly 20 years, the show has taught its audience that life is not always fair, that love does not come without pain, and that family is both fragile and unbreakable at the same time. With Tim's death, these lessons would take on a deeper meaning than ever before, leaving fans to wonder how each character, and the ranch itself, can possibly move forward. The emotional aftermath would not be quick or easy. Heartland has always handled grief with patience, showing that healing takes time. Viewers would not expect the family to bounce back overnight. Instead, they would want to see Amy, Lou, Jack, and the others wrestling with their emotions, stumbling through moments of anger, regret, and sorrow before finding their way back to hope. This realism is what has kept fans loyal to the series, and it would be the foundation of Season 19's storytelling. And so, my friends, Season 19 of Heartland is shaping up to be one of the most unforgettable chapters in the show's history. A season where heartbreak and hope will walk hand in hand, where the loss of a beloved character could tear the family apart, yet somehow bring them closer than ever before. But here's the question that lingers in every fan's heart. If Tim really does meet his tragic end, What does that mean for the future of the ranch, the family, and every bond that has been built over nearly 2 decades? Can Amy carry the weight of both her father's and Ty's legacies? Will Jack's wisdom be enough to hold the family together when grief threatens to pull them apart? Or will this season reveal even more shocking turns that no one could have predicted? That's the magic of Heartland. It doesn't just give us stories, it gives us life lessons wrapped in moments of joy, love, sorrow, and resilience. And as much as we may fear the loss of Tim, we know that his presence, his strength, and his love for his family will never truly leave. Because in Heartland, those we lose are never gone. They live on in the land, in the horses, and most of all, in the hearts of the ones they loved. So now, I leave the question to you. Do you believe the writers will truly take this bold step? Will season 19 really give us the heartbreaking goodbye that could change the future of Heartland forever? Or will there be an unexpected twist waiting just around the corner? Share your thoughts, your theories, and your emotions in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. And if this journey through the Heartland family has touched you as deeply as it has touched me, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss the next update. Because believe me, this is only the beginning. There is so much more to uncover, and together we'll walk through every twist, every tear, and every triumph. Heartland has always been more than just a show. It's a reflection of life itself, the heartbreaks, the healing, the laughter, and the love that carries us through. And no matter what season 19 brings, one truth will remain. Family is forever. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay strong, and never forget. The story of Heartland is also the story of us all.